Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. I've had some of my sports cars on the channel and some of the other vehicles, sports cars, trucks. I wanted something in between. And just like my dog, which is a rescue, and some of my other stuff, my vehicles tend to be rescues as well. What do I mean by that? Well, I tend to leave somebody else drive a car off the lot brand new and take that depreciation hit, and then I normally pick them up. The bad side of that is there's normally things that need to be corrected and repaired, and there's wear and tear because of that. This vehicle has, well, really all of the above. When it comes to paint correction, cleaning the interior, changing the color of the wheels, we're going to take care of all of that. This is a Porsche Macan, just a few years old. The brand new models only have slight differences where they connect to the taillights in the back of the vehicle, but I love these taillights, so I went with this model. We're going to get it up in the air. Let's pull those wheels off first. They will be sent out to be powder coated black. And then we can jump to the rest of the issues on this vehicle. Let me know down in the comments section if you do the same and let somebody else drive it brand new off the lot and take that hit in depreciation and pick it up a little bit cheaper, or you just can't help yourself and you have to have a brand new vehicle. No wrong answers either way. It's been a long time since I've had a brand new vehicle with 0 miles. Mileage doesn't scare me at all. I tend to know how to fix a lot of things anyway, so repairs don't bother me. And when I said I wanted something in between, well, really, I wanted something in between a sports car and a truck that I could still zip around quickly, have a little bit better gas mileage, but throw stuff in the back. This is a crossover, so it has all of those capabilities, even that the puppers can jump in there. And really doesn't bother me. So we're going to start under the hood. This is really a crazy hood here. For such a tiny engine, you'd think this hood would be meant for a V12. So much room with just a little tiny engine. It is turbocharged, but nothing really overpowering and nothing huge. But even though the hood is odd, I do like it. So I'll start to vacuum out some of the loose leaves and dirt, then I'll fire up the air compressor and blow any loose debris that I can out, and we'll go from there. I did take a look at the Mercedes-Benz SUV crossover type. That's the GLA, which is mid-size, the GLC, which is full-size, and the GLS, which has the optional third row. They just kind of looked odd to me, and wasn't quite interested. And then when it came to BMW, there was a lot to look at there. The X1 through the X7, and then there's M versions of them as well. So that took some time, but nothing really turned me on there either. Moving on to the next step, and there's no need for a pressure washer or a foam lance in this particular engine bay. It's not that bad. And if anybody wondered what I did with my towels there, they are the ones that are downgraded after, say, ceramic application of any sorts. They get put into a B, downgraded into situations like this in the engine compartment, or door jams, or undercarriages. So I'll do the rinseless or waterless method here, and just using the Showroom Elegance, which actually can be used this way successfully inside or out side of a vehicle. We'll use it in the engine compartment. Spray it directly onto a microfiber or onto one of the plastic panels within the engine bay and wipe it off, and it comes off nice and clean. It's also great for the painted areas in the engine compartment as well. I also took a look at some of the more economical crossovers, such as Toyota RAV4, Ford Escape, Nissan Rogue, there's the Honda CR-V, Hyundai Tucson, and Mazda CX-5, and really nothing stood out with them as well. Some of the other more expensive ones, the Audi Q series. I did have a Cadillac XT5. I had the Range Rovers. They're fine, but the maintenance and upkeep was a little salty. Also, the Infiniti has one, Lexus, of course, Volvo, and some of the other more expensive crossovers such as the Lamborghini Urus. All right, we have it cleaned up really nice. Let's put something on there to, say, dress it up a bit and protect it, do everything in one shot. So I'll grab the Macan Mega Shine, and all you do is spray that on there and leave it go for about 15-20 minutes. Don't wipe it off right away. As you let it sit, the consistency changes. It sort of self-levels a little bit, and all you have to do is bring a microfiber towel in a little bit later and level things, any high spots or any extra built up areas where it's puddled. Just wipe that off, and it leaves a nice finish and a nice film on the plastic parts in the engine compartment and protects them and dresses them at the same time. I'll use it on absolutely every surface in that engine compartment, included painted areas. It comes out nice and shiny, and then the plastic and rubber parts come out conditioned and nice and dark and rich looking. Wipe off any excess after you spray it on, any surrounding areas. That's all there is to it. Not a ton of time spent in the engine compartment, but it's clean, it's conditioned, it's protected. Now we can close that bonnet and move on. When it comes to the interior, well, that needs a little attention and TLC as well, all the surfaces in there. And this actually was featured, the interior, in an earlier video using the Star Scrubber, and that was a great tool, very successful in cleaning up and reconditioning this interior. I personally like to team up the scrubber with Angel Wax Heaven for Leather, and I think you'll be as happy as I was working the product and the results afterwards. You can see the huge difference we've made with very little effort, really, and we're going to continue that process all the way around all the leather in the front and then passenger compartments, and then the plastic trim and door panels as well. This has carbon fiber trim. We're going to leave those alone. Maybe polish if necessary. We can also coat those if we want to. Every square inch will be cleaned and protected. We're just going to take care of the cleaning. We'll get to the coatings and the protectants a little bit later on in the series. And more improvement, just what I like to see. I like a nice, fresh interior. So yeah, getting back to the crossovers such as this, do you even like crossovers at all? They are a bit odd, not knowing which way they want to lean, either sporty or a larger SUV for hauling. But They do have their purpose. I wanted one for the combination of being able to zip around and then being able to throw something in it in the back hatch, and maybe taking the puppers with, go hiking. If there's one that you favor or one that you enjoy, what is your favorite crossover SUV? So the interior is complete, nice and fresh and clean. We'll protect it later. We'll get to that. We can hop over to the paint, and this has some issues as well. It may not seem that bad to you, but a sore sight to my eyes. Beautiful, gorgeous blue paint with a ton of stains, just overall dullness, lots of scratches and swirls to deal with. There are areas that are chipped and scratched where the touch-up was, well, that attempt was horrendous. So we will strip off the touch-up, and I will attempt that myself. We'll get to that later. The vehicle doesn't have a ton of miles on it, barely broken in fact. It's just that it spent the first few years looking through some of the paperwork that was left in the storage areas, in areas where it's really hard to keep a vehicle looking pristine. But we're going to bring it back. We're going to change that, and we're going to give the rest of this car's years on the roadway a much easier life, a protected life, and a little bit more cared for. The next thing we're going to do is debadge everything on the vehicle, which, well, not a whole lot, just some things on the back hatch here. And there happens to be scratches that just go right up against the emblems anyway, so we can correct it while we have those removed. And I ordered a blackout badge kit for the vehicle to match the black wheels. And I'll have a surprise later for you what we might do for the painted surfaces on this vehicle. So we heat up the emblem, and that in return warms up the double-sided tape behind the emblem, in between the emblem and the painted surface, where we can get the floss in there and saw those letters and emblems off safely without making too much contact with the paint. When you're doing this, saw all the way through with the floss or the fishing line, whatever you find that's thick enough to work. Never stop and try to pull off a badge halfway through. It'll pry against the paint and make some indentations. What we have when we remove those is the double-sided tape, which is a pain. That's when we get the 3M wheel out, attach it to any drill, and we work that adhesive off. Take your time. And if you're doing it on a metal surface, you're fine. If you're removing from plastic, be careful. You can heat up quickly and actually burn through the paint. Just something to look out for. Take your time. Before you know it, all you're going to have is a little bit of adhesive to remove chemically. And since we're boring the hell out of Junior, we better get him to work before he falls asleep right there as he stands. Let's break out the Citral 266. Just spray the area liberally and let it soak for a few minutes, and it'll work up, break up, and free up the rest of the adhesive to wipe free. Well, we've accomplished much so far, but we do have a lot more work on this. Let's stop the video here, and we'll continue on in the second video of this series.